"2010 has been a roller coaster ride for South Africans and foreigners alike, with the after effects of the recession still being felt. But the successful hosting of the 2010 FIFA World Cup soccer spectacular left us with fond memories for years to come. Engineering News reflects on the stories that made news headlines this year. We begin this year's Top 10 Real Economy Report show with the second South African Solar Challenge, where the world champion solar car, the Takai Challenger, took the checkered flag. The Takai Challenger travelled 4,061 kilometres during the Solar Challenge, the furthest distance on solar power in a single South African event. The futuristic-looking car, at some points reaching speeds of 120 kilometres an hour, also travelled the furthest distance on solar power in a single day, clocking up 565 kilometres. The next most watched show was an announcement by the South African government about the development of a new solar park near Uppington in the Northern Cape. The proposal is for the development of a 5,000 megawatt solar park in the sun-drenched Northern Cape. Engineering News spoke with Ministry of Energy advisor Jonathan de Vries about the initiative.
While we are committed to a solar park that is designed to achieve 5,000 megawatts over the 10-year period, our immediate objective is to secure 1,000 megawatts in this first phase, and so once we get through that we can talk about following phases. And the idea of the solar park basically is to attempt to reduce the cost of solar power generation by going for scale.
Engineering News was part of a media contingent attending the landing of the 10,000-kilometre fibre optic cable EASY project on South Africa's east coast, which makes its debut at number 8. The fibre optic Eastern Africa submarine cable system is one of 9 undersea telecoms cables that will connect various parts of sub-Saharan Africa to the rest of the world by 2011. The project signifies great strides not only for the South African telecommunications industry, but for Africa as well. Telkom executive for Global Capacity Business, Johan Meyer, explains.
Well, for telecommunications in Africa, and maybe particularly to the East African region, when this cable was initially planned, it was going to be the first fibre optic cable in East Africa. As you know, that honour has been bestowed on Seacom, that landed in around September last year, or went live in September last year. So EASY will bring a new dimension in that it brings a redundant cable system into East Africa. What we will see in East Africa is now that there will be 2 fibre cables serving the East Africa region, which means that there's redundant fibre. So the dependence on satellite can be severely cut back. And of course, the other thing that it does as well is that EASY at this point in time is the biggest submarine cable that will land in Africa, as well as specifically East Africa, bringing obviously with it large capacity to serve the needs of East Africa for the next 10 or 15 years.
The 7th most watched Real Economy Report show introduces one of South Africa's largest workhorses in the world, the 50-ton rock breaker manufactured by JDS Industries. Only 3 of these gigantic rock breakers have been manufactured globally, and interestingly, all 3 are based on South African iron ore mines. JDS Sales and Technical Manager Hendrik Alberts tells us what makes these machines so magnificent.
The machine is special, and that it's usually the booms are articulated in 2 sections. We articulate in 3 sections just to reach the whole tip. And the machine weighs in excess of 50 tons because the hammer needs to be moved around, and the reach is 14 meters. So overturning moments of it is very, very big.
Coming in at number 6 is Africa's first green city precinct, Mainland Main. Mainland Main in Pretoria has broken ground and development has started. Creamer Media's Real Economy Report spoke to one of the developers.
We've got approximately 275,000 square meters of bulk that we'll be developing over the next 7 to 10 years here. And we think that it's going to be a real talking point in Tshwane. We think it's going to be a landmark development here, and we're extremely proud of it.
We're halfway through this year's most watched shows. At number 5 is a look at the training of the Army's engineers. The main training unit of South African Army Engineer Corps is the School of Engineers at Kroonstad in the Free State. New recruits are trained at the Junior Training Wing at Bossiespruit, not far from the town. Junior Training Wing Commander Major Erika Westraat explains the kind of training the recruits receive.
Firstly, when the members arrive, we start with basic military training, where we start to train them as to the basic skills in the military. For example, how to drill, how then to have military discipline, how to iron their uniform, where and when and how to perform when they are in uniform, as well as the R4 shooting rifle training, which they then have to complete successfully in order to pass their basic military training. Once they've completed the basic military training, we continue with the core training. We are the engineer corps, so we continue to train them as engineers. We give them the basic skills of the military engineers, which is more focused on the combat. We do mine warfare modules. We do the basic field engineering module. We do power tools, obstacle and field defense works module, water purification and water provision module, and then the watermanship module as well. Then finally we have the bridge building module.
At number 4, we pose the question of flying unmanned aircraft in civil airspace. A major issue in aviation today is the use of unmanned air vehicles in civil airspace subject to air traffic control. The study group is working on regulations and standards to allow such operations worldwide.
I would say that regulations will appear in a stepwise fashion. In the study group, we have considered that the most basic regulation which is urgently needed is most probably a new appendix to Annex 2 to the Chicago Convention, which speaks of rules of the air. A new appendix to that annex would have the status of standards in the Annex 2 and provide the rules of the air for unmanned aircraft systems specifically.
Debuting at number 3 is a demonstration of Advanced Technologies and Engineering's standalone weapons system fitted to a Eurocopter EC-635 helicopter. ATE's manager for the program, John Reynolds, explains what the standalone weapons system is and how they came to develop it.
The SADF'S is a standalone weapon system. It's able to be fitted to an aircraft reasonably quickly and simply. It doesn't necessarily rely on the platform on which it is mounted, and this makes it transferable and deployable on many different types of helicopters. We've optimized it specifically for the Eurocopter range of helicopters. We came to start developing the SADF'S approximately 18 months ago when Eurocopter approached us to assist with the development of a standalone weapon system for them.
Our second most watched show in 2010 introduces the South African Air Force's recently graduated Gripen pilots and its first Gripen strike navigator trained entirely in South Africa. Previous Gripen aircrew received part of their training in Sweden. The newly graduated pilots are Major Catherine Labuskaghni, Major Lance Matabula and Lieutenant Colonel Gijs van der Walt, while the strike navigator is Lieutenant Kubendra Chetty. While Lieutenant Colonel van der Walt was already a fighter pilot, he flew the Cheetah from 2003 to 2005. Both Matabula, who graduated a week before the others, and Labuskaghni are new to supersonic fighters. Labuskaghni is also the first woman Gripen fighter in the world. Following their solo flights in the Gripen, all were subjected to the traditional ice water bath for aircrew newly graduated on a fighter jet. South Africa's recently certified Jonker JS1 Revelation sailplane is probably the most advanced aircraft in its category in the world today, and easily sails in at number 1 in this year's most watched Real Economy Report show. A key factor in the success of the JS1 is its unique aerofoil design. The aerofoil is the cross-section shape of the wing, which generates the lift that allows an aircraft to fly. This aerofoil was developed in South Africa by Jonker Sailplanes to achieve optimum performance and is measured in Reynolds numbers. As applied to aircraft design, Reynolds numbers measure how smooth the airflow will be around an airframe. That's it from this year's Real Economy Report team. Log on next year for more news and updates on the economy and the best South Africa has to offer in the fields of science and technology.